I want to talk a little bit on the last game because this was actually a really intense and wow, I was blown away. He played super well. I learned quite a bit. It was down to the last moment where neither of us knew if he or the other one actually won.
Welcome to In Response, a Legacy podcast. Whether you're a dedicated player or just curious about Legacy, join us as we share ideas, discuss decks, and have some fun along the way.
So Daniel, as you experienced already, the ELM Qualifier season for the European Legacy Masters 2025 basically started this weekend when we record now, but like 2 weeks when the episode releases. And it started off with an event in Vienna from our proud partners at 3-for-1 Gaming, trading. And they held for the fourth time an ELM Qualifier there as one of their routine 1K tournaments. And you experienced firsthand there the victory with the three-peat basically from Nicholas Holtmann. It's the third time that he won an event in Vienna for the European Legacy Masters.
True. Yes, it was cool. 60 players gathered, and I think that this 3-for-1 qualifiers are always somewhat special because since they're located in Vienna, we have a lot of people coming from Hungary, from Slovakia, and these kind of surroundings, including some people from Vienna and a huge group actually from Linz. I have to say, being part of this community, it makes me really proud that I think we had 5 full cars, if I remember, or almost full cars. We were like 19 or 20 people from Linz. This is actually pretty cool. So we kind of crushed the meta there. This was the plan.
You mean you got crushed by the meta there?
Crushed. Yeah. You're right. No, I think it was not too bad. But in the end, Niklas took it down. It was really impressive what he played. I played against him, and we can talk about it later. I brought to the table a different deck that I played only 1 or 2 times before. I made it is not so spontaneous, but somewhat spontaneous. I made the switch from Breakfast to OmniTell, Blue-Green OmniTell, just because I actually, when I looked at my performances of Breakfast the last couple of weeks, it was really a clear trend. It was going down. I think in the last FNM that I played Breakfast, I ended up 1-4. It was really tough. And I realized, Breakfast at this time, other combo decks are more resilient, more sometimes faster, and Breakfast I still think is quite fragile. Mana base is super tough. I always struggle with mana, and this is, I think, at this time not the deck that you want to be on. I think Breakfast would shine again if the format would be a little bit slower, because then you actually can get utilized Narus and so on. And therefore, I chose OmniTell.
So you basically jumped onto the new hotness a little bit of the format. It's basically a deck that utilizes the new utility card in Stock Up the Best. And how did it feel casting Stock Ups?
Oh, it's so amazing. I have to say, getting to pair it with Ancient Tomb feels almost like cheating. It is impressive. It is very good. It's kind of your expressive iteration before combo, before you cast Show and Tell and putting Omniscience into play. And after you have Omniscience in play, it's super consistent in finding your Cunning Wish, for example, that in the end gets shared summons from the sideboard, which allows you to get your Emrakul and Atraxa. And I often had the case where I just, went off, I cast Show and Tell. If it resolved, then I had my Omniscience. And then I just go with a single stock up. And it was enough to find enough pieces to chain together a win on the same turn. So it adds a lot of consistency. And, when you are digging to find your Show and Tell or your payoff, for example, it also helps pre-Show and Tell, pre the combo. It's perfect fit for the deck, absolutely. And it's so nicely that it pairs so good with Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, as I said, with Ancient Tomb, it basically feels like a CMC2 card. And yeah, as you said, it's good in the combo turn, it's good pre-combo turn. It gives you a +1 in card advantage, which helps tremendously if you have to fight off your opponent trying to combo. It finds you the Force of Will to protect your combo. With green, I expect Wheel of Summers also in the main deck.
Exactly. This is actually a big card that I think is, besides stock up, the second biggest reason why you would choose this deck, because you have main deck Wheel of Summers. And if you think of the top decks of the format, we have variations of Blue-Black Reanimator and also Blue-Black Tempo, Esper, mid-range, all these kind of things. All decks play Thoughtseize at the moment. And getting to have a clean answer for that punishes super hard in Wheel of Summer is a big advantage. And of course, it protects just your combo against all counter spells regardless. So it's a fantastic card. And for sure, I would say if you're an OmniTell, green would be the second color you would pick at this time.
Yeah. I guess Wheel of Summer is always kind of sweet card to play in any meta with various form of hand and stack control. So you were on Blue-Green OmniTell. So the first question is how felt the meta a little bit? Against which decks have you played? Which decks have you seen on the battlefields beside your table?
You mean during the tournament?
During the tournament.
Okay. I had a pretty good start. I think in the first round I played against Mono Red Stompy as the first matchup, and I felt this deck is okay against Mono Red. Much better than Breakfast for sure, because the mana is quite stable against Mono Red. You only need basically one island and you don't care about the rest. My opponent had, I think, pretty slowish starts. I think only Chalices on turn 1 on two of the 3 games that we played. And besides that, more or less only something like a Fable of Mirror Breaker, not really something explosive, more something for the late game, which gave me enough time to chain together a couple of cantrips and just casting Show and Tell and into Omniscience and just win from there. So this was pretty well for the first round. Second round, I played then against, I think it was Blue-Black Tempo, which was okay. There, what I noticed, sometimes an issue is Orcish Bowmasters. If they get to enable it early, let's say if they have it on turn 2 already, end of turn, flashing Bowmaster, and you still need to find your cantrips, your payoffs. And you, gotta cantrip a whole bunch, then Bowmasters is a real threat, very fast, and then it costs you a couple of games. And Wheel of Summer helps there, because it prevents the pinging, but it only helps one turn. And if you pass, you still face a huge Orcish army. So I would say this matchup is okay-ish, it's winnable. Wheel of Summer helps. I won, but I think it's more like on the coin flip side of things, I would say, which is cool. Yeah. So it's totally beatable for this matchup.
Just a quick reminder for our listeners. With Orcish Bowmasters, if you Whale of Summer, in response to the triggers already happening, and your opponent targeted it, you as a player, the copies will fizzle.
Yes.
But on the other side, if your opponent has already Whale of Summoned, you should target the Orc Army token with the pinging itself, which makes the token one bigger before it checks state-based actions, so the Orc Army token never dies to the damage.
Yeah, I actually have seen players on this tournament making a kind of a heads-up play against me because they know I run Whale of Summer main deck. That, for example, when I brainstorm, this is something that occurs quite a bit. If they know I'm just digging for 1 or 2 extra pieces and I want to try to win on the same turn, I brainstorm, try also to find Whale of Summer. They distribute the pings of that you get from brainstorm, that they put 1 on the Orcish token army and 2 to the face, so that you kind of minimize a little bit the damage, still having 2 damage if you don't have Whale of Summer, and growing the Orcish army still if you have the Whale of Summer. So I've seen a couple of people do that now, which is, I guess, a thing people need to think about now.
Yeah, especially when you calculate how the clock, the number of turns that you need to finish your opponent, you have to go a little bit there and see how much damage you can neglect and not deal your opponent. But yeah, we were just in round number 2 where you won against Blue-Black Temper.
Exactly. I can't remember the round 3 opponent at this time, but I know that after 3 rounds I ended up in 3-0. So it was a 6 rounds tournament because of 60 players, and
basically destined for top 8. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. 3-0 is a good start, and I think I played against Blue-Black, or actually Esper, a mid-range on round 3. So this was the matchup that I missed. So similar story actually. Almost was an issue, but I ended up getting advantage.
Around the counter, destruction and Bowmasters, basically.
Exactly. And in round 4, then I had the typical Austrian Legacy mirror match. I played against Moritz Eichmeier, which is our patron. So shout outs to him. He was on Eldrazi. And we had more or less, let's call it a win and in, because we were certain that the player that gets 4-0 after the 4th round could draw the next round and then potentially also draw the 6th round and then be safely into top 8. I have to say I tried my best to pull off a fast combo, but Moritz really drew very well, and the biggest problem was in that case sowing Miko spawn. 1 or 2 times it really got, when it is played, kicked, setting your back 1 mana, he gets either, a Chaos Cradle for extra mana, Eye of Ugin for, endless fuel of Eldrazi, or, Wasteland to actually set you back 2 lands. It is too much. And Blue-Black OmniTell has a plan B in the version that I played in Uro, which is fantastic against tempo decks, against this Blue-Black mid-range deck. It's very good. And against control decks, it's also quite well, but not really against Stompy, kind of. You don't have the time to cast Uro, escape it, and then run away with the game. It's just not gonna happen. So I was kind of naked almost, My land's getting destroyed. I wanted to cast stock ups to get more value, but then I was just overrun. Yeah. And more advanced, 4-0. And I was 3-1 at this point, yeah. So I still had to have more work to do for the last round.
So you basically went overtime into the 5th round where you played.
There I played against a very cool deck, actually. It was mono blue Stiflenought.
Legacy?
Yes.
Or did you went to the pre-modern tournament?
Yeah, it almost looked like it, yeah.
Were you playing against the store owner from Hungary?
No, it was, he showed me later on, I can give a shout out to him. He calls himself Finn of Magic.
Ah, you mean Finn, the German dude?
Yes, he was traveling to Vienna and he brought his, I only saw blue cards, and even after sideboarding he showed Parallax Wave, some really spicy, nice pre-modern cards actually. I played in his Legacy mono blue Stiflenought deck, sweet deck. And it was impressive. I think actually I am unfavored there. Stifle is a huge threat. And so many dazes, Stifles, forces, and dress down is, I guess, okay, but it's so scary when they suddenly have 2 Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, representing lethal. It is really tough, actually. I just was lucky to get to a fast combo in 2 out of the 3 games. So I was lucky, yeah. But it was super close, I have to say.
Yeah, shout out to Finn. I think it's another dude that played Cloudpost, but yeah, Finn is traveling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We met him actually at the Eternal Weekend in Prague.
Okay.
And yeah, Finn, just a nice dude.
Yes.
I saw him traveling down to Vienna, also in a group chat from the guys from Vienna. And yeah, just a lovely dude. And yeah, with round 5 concluded, standing 4-1, usually in a 6-round tournament, pretty easy to draw into top 8.
Yes.
But I guess it was not possible.
Yeah. We were seated based on the standings then in the last round, and I was on table 4, which is really a place where it is super risky if you draw. The first table could draw, and the second and the third, I think, all played. Technically, you could, argue, okay, if the table 2 and 3 are playing, I can draw. But it's kind of risky, or the tables can still at some point decide to draw if they want. And based on the standings that they currently had, they were just better positioned. And I was paired against Nicholas. I think he was, I guess if he would be table 2 of, I don't know, about 3, he may be open for drawing, but I think at this point there was no discussion. We just had to play it out. And I played against this version of a Jeskai Wizards Control deck that, has the full playset of Thunderclap Trainer and Flame of Anor. Super sweet deck, I have to say. It's just purely Jeskai with a lot of basics and a lot of cheap interaction. Not super heavy on the win cons, so not a super fast clock, but that's a control deck anyways. And I have to say, the game 1 was already intense. He played like a couple of cantrips. I think it was a Temio that he had in play and is flipped. Got a little bit of value, and he got a Thunder Trap Trainer ongoing, which is an ATB that lets the look or the top 4 cards of a library and can grab a non-creature card. So like a Nazet, -2.
No creature normally.
Exactly. And I think I tried to assemble a show and tell protected with Will of Summer and Force of Will, which is on average super safe. It should actually resolve. But I think he had double spell pierce and a force. Okay, this is how I lose.
And just to rub it in, he only plays 2.
I know. Yeah, and he had both of them game 1. But this happened, is okay. Game 2, he stumbled a little bit. I think he played over the course of 3 turns all 4 brainstorms without any opportunity to fetch in between. So he was just digging super, super hard, trying to undo his brainstorm locks. And there I could, get actually pretty easy over it by gathering more resources with some stock ups, I think it was, and then just have a protected win. So game 2 was nothing spectacular. But I want to talk a little bit on the last game, because this was actually a really, really intense and wow, I was blown away. He played super well, so really, really shout outs to him. It was super, super a good experience from my end. Even though I lost this one, I learned quite a bit, and it was it was down to the last moment where neither of us knew if he or the other one actually won. So it kind of started off by me trying to cantrip a couple of times, and he had a Temio ongoing that flipped. And at some point I had an awkward situation, and this is what I think would more be maybe one of the key moments. I had already a show and tell in my hand, and I fetched, I think, for a hedge maze. And with the surveil trigger, I looked at another show and tell on the top of my deck. And I thought to myself, okay, should I keep it or not? And I'm missing hard on, any payoffs or any stock ups. So I thought, okay, I can dim one show and tell. You just ditch it and then dig for another card. But I know he runs surgically. And obviously he had the surgically. So he extracted my show and tells. So usually, like if it's compared and backed up by a huge clock, it is enough and you lose immediately. But I continued to play, and because I had Uro on my deck, I thought, okay, no, at this point of time I switched to a different plan, just deploy Uro. I know he's a good player, and usually Source to Plowshares should not be in the deck after sideboarding, which was also the case. I got to deploy Uro. But he buybacked with Temio the surgical, and then surgical my Uro again. So my Uro was also gone. So I was thinking to myself, okay, what should I do next? So next plan, obviously,
Hardcast Omniscience.
Yes, just easy hardcast Omniscience, no problem. I had 1 Carpet of Flowers in play. I think it was 2 Ancient Tomb. It's not too far off. So I think I gathered. He kind of sculpted his hand a little bit, so I was thinking, how much time can I give him? And I had like 2 Omniscience in hand, but I was missing a protection piece. And I thought to myself, okay, I try with 1 Omniscience, and then if it doesn't resolve, I have another one in my hand. But he countered it, the first Omniscience, and then somehow he had another surgical section. So he surgicaled my Omniscience. So I was show and tell was surgical Uro and also Omniscience. And he also had then at this point a Teferi on the board. So even my Force of Wills were kind of offline, and everything was really shitty. But I had an Atraxa in my hand. So I thought to myself, okay, Omniscience is gone. Next step, hardcast Atraxa. And I drew my second copy of Carpet of Flowers, which helped me exactly to get all 4 different kinds of mana so that I can actually hardcast Atraxa. So in the end, I managed to cast Atraxa even with a Veil of Summer backup, because, okay, this is what I did.
Where did the Teferi gone?
Okay, this is one key turn actually. I had 2 Cunning Wishes and 1 Atraxa in my hand, and I drew a Veil of Summer. So what I did is I Cunning Wish for surgical myself to extract his Force of Wills. First step. He answers by surgical extraction his own Force of Will to prevent the Force of Will from being extracted. This is step number 1. Then, and I think this is maybe actually was a mistake because it didn't matter. But then I had another Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth to bounce the Teferi. And I think this actually didn't do anything because, I could just cast the Veil of Summer first.
Yeah.
And if it resolves, my Atraxa is uncountable. So I thought maybe this Cunning Wish, I could have done something different in retro perspective. But I did it. This was okay. He said, okay, yeah, Teferi is bounced. And then I cast Atraxa. He had like Snapcaster Red Blast for it, I think. Then I played Veil of Summer, and then he had a Force of Will. So my Atraxa was also gone, and it was actually pretty low because he attacked with Snapcaster a couple of times or Thundertrap Trainer. So it was really down to the last moment, and the last thing that actually I had still a plan, which is
Hardcast Emrakul?
Exactly. I need to top deck Emrakul and hardcast it. But he knew also that. He knew that everything is extracted. Atraxa is gone. He also knew that, of course, Emrakul is the only thing that I could now have, and this would lose him the game. So what he did is he cast Back to Basics, so that my Ancient Tombs, my duels couldn't untap anymore. And then he replayed Teferi and bouncing my Carpet of Flowers, so that I also couldn't recast anymore. So there was no way I can get to 15 mana to hardcast an Emrakul if I would actually top deck it. And that's how he won then in the end. But I have to say, down to the last thing, if I had one extra, if he didn't have all, extraction on this, on that, and so on, I think I would have won the game. So it was super, super interactive, phenomenal game, I have to say.
Yeah, so basically it came down to the one turn where, if I heard everything correctly, I think you misplayed with the Cunning Wish, because if you cast the Veil of Summer first, the only thing that he can do is like pitch cast the Force of Will, and then you can decide if you run out the Atraxa or not. But otherwise, it seems like a really, really intense match.
It was, yeah. Man, to be fair, there was nothing really else that I could wish for in the sideboard. I didn't have anything. Like, I had a Force of Negation, but in the face of Teferi, it doesn't do anything. And I didn't have Veil of Summer in the sideboard, an additional one, because I brought all copies in. So, yeah. Dash that. I think this was the only option that I had, but it kind of didn't do anything. So I could have also, I thought maybe I could have in some previous turn used one wish to get shared summons, to hardcast shared summons, to get my Emrakul.
Yeah.
This was maybe one idea that I thought through. Maybe this would be better.
Because like even if you don't have the Atraxa shared summons, just gives you both cards that you really want. Yeah. And even sometimes seems really, really odd, like stocking up to 8 cards in hand to put back a lot of juice when you discard end of turn your Emrakul can also be kind of a plan that you want to have to do. But the thing is, with Surgically and Tamio being like a really, really nice combination against combo decks, to have them ready at hand for like every other turn is pretty much insane. And yeah, this is the thing. In the end, Nicholas advanced to the top 8. The top 8 consists of twice Blue-Black Reanimator, Blue-Black Tempo, Esper, mid-range Esper Control. Then we had Doomsday, 8-cast, Eldrazi from Moritz, and Jeskai Wizards from Nicholas, which won in the end the tournament. And yeah, the deck from Nicholas seems pretty, pretty great. He went home at the same night on Saturday, played a big event on the next day. He swapped decks with a friend of him. His friend then played Jeskai Wizards to 6-1 finish the next day. So
it's good. It's honestly good. It may be the best control deck that we have in this format at this point.
Yeah. And dual-wise, it's quite cheap. Only 1 Tundra, 1 Volcanic, 1 Plateau. And yeah, Nicholas rocking, I think, the beta plateaus.
Yes.
So yeah, pretty sick. And yeah, congratulations to Nicholas to once again wear the Austrian jersey to the European Legacy Masters. This time not at the Four Seasons, but at Eternal Mania on the 10th of August in Belgium, in Hasselt.
Exactly, yeah. This is the city and the place where it will be. Let's see if we can. For sure, we can put one person from our Austrian Legacy League.
We have already Felix Steinitzer qualified from.
Yeah. He stole one slot, right? Yeah. True. So we have at least 2 Austrians there. But of course, I'm very curious, and this is where I'm excited because we get to cast the event. This is of course our Austrian Legacy Masters. Yeah, we will determine 2 persons because we have 2 qualifiers over the whole weekend. It's from the 20th of June until the 22nd of June.
So 21st and 22nd of June will be ELM qualifiers with prize payout will maybe be in here because it's not really defined currently, but I think we are still aiming at like a 2K.
A 2 and a 1K, I think, something like that, exactly. And slots are limited. Ads still available, so make sure to get your grabs, I think. Nice opportunity, I would say. And I guess, same as you, it will be exciting to cast the event.
Yeah. Especially since, I have to say, I won't be at Eternal Mania this year. My wife has birthday on the 10th of August, so
it's good excuse. It's good excuse.
I'm not allowed. No, sometimes you have to spend time with family, and unfortunately it overlaps here. But yeah, I will be at another big tournament, maybe in September, but we will see. So I think tournament was great.
Tournament was absolutely amazing. Next qualifier that we have in Austria is in April.
At the 26th of April.
Yeah.
In Graz.
Exactly. This will be another qualifier, and then we have the Austrian Legacy Masters. So 5 slots in total, and 1
for the Austrian Legacy League champion.
Yeah, I'm excited. And let's see for Graz. Maybe I will still stick with OmniTell. I think this deck is still great. I want to explore stock up a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to stock up your knowledge.
Yes, exactly. But see how this develops.
Yeah, definitely. So